We'll get started here. Okay, so we will get started here. So for those that don't know, I'm Tyler Warman. I'm the mayor for the town of Slave Lake. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 8 territory, the traditional lands of First Nation and Métis people. The town of Slave Lake and our Tri-Council, which consists of the MD of Lesser Slave River and the Sarge First Nation, is excited to host this event in this facility. This facility that was built, one of the first of its kind. It was a historic time that we had two municipalities, a First Nation, and two non-for-profits created this building out of something for a community need. And at the time, I thought that was quite historic. And as I stand here today, I feel like this is even more than that. So I'll also acknowledge, I can probably do this, right? And so I'm just really excited. I'm really proud to be here today. I want to send my thank you to all of the elected leaders who made this a priority. Unfortunately, due to COVID, because I also have to acknowledge that that exists, it's unfortunate that this event ends up having to be a lot smaller. We had to contain how many people were able to come, as well as there was a couple of the entities that were unavailable, and we'll finish the signing up next week. For order of events, we are going to start with a smudge, and I'd like to introduce Elder Irene Twin, who will be doing the smudge, and she's going to take a minute to kind of explain it, and then the members can feel free to smudge as they come up. The format, once we finish and get through the opening prayer as well, is I'll call up each entity that would come up. There'll be one set of documents here. We'll sign on the line. Start with your signature, then add any opening remarks that you have. With that, sorry, I'll turn it over to you, Irene.
Thank you. Good day. Can you hear me? It's an honor to be here with you today. I mean no disrespect to anyone, as I light the smudge for our prayer today, for good energy towards your new alliance and all relationships around it. So when we smudge, we use different types of herbs, plants, fungus. In our area, we use the diamond willow fungus, and that's what I've lit for you here today. Now, the smudging is a cleansing of your body, mind, and spirit. So with no disrespect to anyone, whomever would care to smudge today, I've provided some items for you to use. If you don't feel that you want to smudge, there's no disrespect for that either. But it is lit here today to help our prayers and our energies towards this historic event. So were we going to do the smudging per table or just at their leisure?
I think that each can do it as they go up.
And you just cup the smoke. Carry it over your head to clear your mind, to your ears to hear only good things, your mouth to speak no harm, to speak love, respect, and of course to cleanse our heart, to keep us good human beings. And then you flow the smudge all the way down through to the end of your body. If anyone would like to try and has never done it before, I can assist you. So by all means, if you'd like to smudge, I ask you to come up. Thank you. Hi, hi.
And so at this point, Irina is going to come forward again and do the opening prayer.
Can I ask everybody to stand, please? Creator, I thank you for your creation, and me being part of it gives me the courage to stand before my fellow human beings. I asked you to talk to them, use my body, tell them about the 7 sacred teachings of humility, courage, sharing, respect, love, honesty, and truth. I ask you for blessings for our alliance to have the ability to compromise and work as a team. I ask this for our children and our children not born yet. Bless our Mother Earth for all she provides. Keep her safe. Bless our nations across Turtle Island and keep us all safe from the pandemic. Hi, hi.
Okay, so for those that know me, know I don't usually have speeches prepared, but I wanted to take a moment and just say again how honored I am, how touched I am that we are able to bring together 5 municipalities and 5 First Nations on a historical document signing governance protocol. And so the whole idea behind the protocol that we are going to sign today is the sense that we have met, this has been happening over the approximately the last year in multiple meetings and discussions. And I was very proud to work with that group, because when you start out with something like that, there's a lot of history that comes with it. There's a lot of circumstances that come with it, and it was great to be part of a group where we had so many elected leaders that said that this has to be a priority, and the priority was we need to develop and work together as neighbors. We need to have mutual respect, and we need to build trust. And so with that foundation, we start this journey, and I acknowledge that the hard work is ahead of us, and definitely not behind, but it is a moment of courage to come up here and be part of that, and to look at the dream that is possible, the things that are possible by working together. We've experienced it on the Tri-Council when 2 municipalities and a First Nation work together. It brings a louder voice, but I think even more than that, it's created friendships for us, and we've learned a lot about each other. And so that education is a huge part of working together and building that respect and trust. And so to have an even larger group representing this region, I think is amazing. So I won't take any more time. I'm going to I'll be the first one to sign this document on behalf of the town of Slave Lake. And next, I'll ask Chief Twin from the Sarge First Nation to come up. No.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming on this historic day. I remember after the fires of 2011, when the MD of Lesser Slave River, the town of Slave Lake, and the Sarge First Nation were brought together to deal with the recoveries of that day. And through the help of CEDI, we had some funding to help us move together, and the experience, as the mayor had said, was a very great experience. And I'd often said when we've done some speaking engagements with Can-Do and CEDI, was I'd always said, I sure hope it doesn't take another disaster to bring First Nations and municipalities together. And somebody upstairs must have heard, there's been no disaster I know of, and there's 5 First Nations and 5 municipalities, local governments coming together for the betterment of the region. It's high time that we stop doing things the way we used to do it, live in our little fiefdoms, stay in our stovepipes, so that we can now get together as the 5 governments, because we are all governments, that we can look at initiatives for the betterment of the entire region for all the citizens. This is, to me, a great day, and that I hope that this can bring bigger and better things for the region. This is truly a step into the truth and reconciliation process that Canada has agreed to. When you look at the calls to action from the TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, there's action, not just words. And I commend the municipalities and the First Nations for taking a bold step into saying, yes, we can work together. Yes, there's a need. And there is no longer an invisible line at the border saying, First Nation Reserve, municipal, provincial, we're different. We are not different. One of the things I had learned at the Tri-Council was some of the issues we face as First Nations people are issues faced at the municipal level, albeit maybe from a slightly different perspective. But there's a housing shortage off reserve as well as on reserve. There are social issues we all struggle with. And I think if we can put our differences aside and look at some innovative ways to answer some of these difficulties, to start taking those bold steps forward, I think the whole region's going to benefit, be a better place. And again, I'd just like to thank you all. And I think that as we move forward on this path, we start blazing a trail. Other municipalities, other First Nations will start to get together, and then we will be truly treaty partners, as was first anticipated for our treaty on June 21st, 1899. Our elders told us we are not in a peace treaty. We were not at war. We have a treaty of sharing, treaty of friendship. It's taken over 100 years to get to the point where we're actually starting to walk the talk. But thank goodness it's within my lifetime. And with that, I'd just like to thank everybody and have a good day.
Next, I'll ask Reeve Carrick from the MD of Lesser Slave River to come forward.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. This has been a long time in the works. We were approached a long time ago by a few of our neighbors about joining the tri-council. We have the experience of developing a tri-council from 3 neighbors close that really knew nothing about each other. And we've become almost like family. I mean, what's good for the town is good for us. What's good for the Sarge is good for us. What's good for us is good for them. We've learned this. It was a lesson that took a while. And now it's expanding out to this more of a regional with, say, the 5 municipalities and 5 First Nations. I'm pretty proud to be involved with this because now the next step is we need to learn each other. We learned that with CD before, and hopefully we can get some more of this going where we learn who we are, what we are, how we work, so we all understand. And I think we're going to be in a happy place like where we've been with our tri-council up here. So I'm really looking forward to the next, 4 or 5 years as we develop. And thanks, guys. We're going to be a family yet. Thank you.
Next, I will have Marcel Auger from the MB of Opportunity.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to say that I'm honored to be here today on this very momentous occasion. In a time of the world right now where everybody seems so divided and on opposite ends of the spectrum, looking federally, provincially, municipally, and with the pandemic, even everybody being on one end or the other, it's nice to see organizations coming together and truly saying we're going to work together here and we're going to move in the same direction, put our differences aside, as Chief said, and come together and find a common direction. I think it's really important. I'd like to thank the elder for the kind words and the prayer starting us off. And I'd like to thank our MLA for being here today to share in this area, as well as the Honorable Rick McIver from Municipal Affairs being here as well. It shows the province taking notice of this really important coming together with this alliance. So I'm very happy to be here. I look forward to us doing things that'll benefit the entire region and looking at that as a common loud voice to the province, to the federal government, wherever we can go and stuff for the betterment of all of our people. So thanks everyone today. And I look forward to depending on, I guess, municipal elections coming up a month's time, but look forward to more things going forward from this. And if not, we've set things in the ground now that whoever sits at whatever table, municipal representatives, that they will move this forward now that this is being put into the ground and we're actually putting signatures to this organization. So thanks, everyone.
So next I'll have Mayor Brian Panacea come up from the Town High Prairie.
Well, welcome, everybody, and I can echo what everybody has said. This is a truly wonderful occasion, and the town of High Prairie is very proud and happy to be involved with it. It's been something that we've been talking about and hoping to do, so to see this come to fruition is a wonderful opportunity. I can see so many great things coming out of this. I know there's lots of work to do, but I am confident with the meetings that we've had with this organization and everybody involved, that there is going to be some momentous things coming out of this group for our area. And as been mentioned, it's what's good for one part of the area is good for other parts of the area. And as everybody works together, our region is going to be better because of it. And with that, I just say thanks everyone for coming out again.
Apologize for the interruption there. Somebody's cell phone. Can you raise your hand if it was yours? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, the band will be starting shortly. Sorry, with that, I'd like to ask Ken Matthews from the MDA Big Lakes to come up.
Now we're gonna have our first fight because Tyler called us the MD of Big Lakes. We've been the county of Big Lakes for some time now. Our Big Lakes County, actually. I think there's no question this is a historic day, not only for Alberta, but I would guess likely Canada. I know there's been some alliances formed across the country in different Indigenous groups and municipalities, but I would be willing to bet there's never been 10 involved in that. Do I realize there's a lot of work ahead? There certainly is, because again, we're not going to agree on everything. But the main thing is we're at the same table and discussing those differences so we can get through them and understand one another and what we can or can't do within our own jurisdiction. It's sad, again, COVID has done, it's been so difficult to work through this during a very difficult period because of the COVID. No question about that. But it's good to see that Mr. McIver, Minister McIver, you're here. Thanks for being here, Pat. The importance of this, I think, in the province, and I'm sure Minister McIver will take that back to his cabinet, that something like this is very significant and well worth all the effort put into it so far. And again, I agree with Brian that I can see a lot of great things coming out of this. Again, we've agreed that not everything is important to each individual place, but as long as we support one another and recognize that whatever we do in this region is going to be good for the region and the people in it. There'll always be spin-offs one way or another. So again, very significant day. Glad to see the people that are out here. I just want another story. Of course, I knew when I came here, I was involved in sports, so I got to know a lot of the First Nations people through the sports, and I got to know that their problems, my problems were very often very similar. If there's problems, we also agreed that lots of times it was a good time to party as well. So, but I met another older person later on after I got into politics. And that was Chief Frank Halcro. He was a man that I'd heard a lot about, heard a lot of stories about, and I didn't know what to think about him because I just kind of heard he was kind of a hard ass. But I had the opportunity to meet with him, got to know him, and I think that the relationship that we built over the next few years that we had was very important to me. I know that for sure because all he was the best for his people in this region. So thanks so much for this opportunity to be part of this. And again, thank you.
Okay. So Ken, to be clear, you came up and chastised me for calling it Big Lakes County, and then you said it was County of Big Lakes. Which one? Sorry, at this time, asked Chief Halcro to come up from the Capowino First Nation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be here. We look forward to this for a while. I know when I first started talking with Chief Twin a while back, I was inquiring about the relationship that he had with the town of Slave Lake as well as Slave River. As he told me about it, and I approached my own counterparts and MD of 17 there with Ken Matthews and started exploring some of these relationships where we can bridge some of these gaps as we go forward. And I know town of High Prairie was also in our thoughts as we move forward. Some of the things that come out of it right now was they send me some letters asking for support of different venues that they have. So, you know, we signed those off this last year and to help them in terms of making applications in different formats. So it was a start as we go forward. But I just want to bring greetings from my First Nations to each and every one of you, Minister, MLAs, you know, and all the dignitaries that are here from the different municipalities as well as the towns. You know, this was long overdue. No, a few years back, I tried to create a program and services relationship with different bodies in the provincial level. I call it bridging the gap. No, I go back to when the premier actually way back when they said, yeah, we're going to work together with First Nations, and they put some things into motion and never come to fruition. But anyway, I came home and I said, look, I'm going to work with the different program and services that we have, be it in the provincial level, federal level, or the band level, and trying to bridge those. So we, because we have people in all your communities as well as the different towns and that we have to work with. So to me, it was important to cross that bridge. And I'm hoping this one will actually go down that road big time. Because it's like Chief Twin said, you know, we all have the same issues, same problems. When I look at the regional issues, the hospitals, the lack of service that is in our hospitals, Those are the big issues that I want to look at, the water issues. How can we do that as we go forward? The stuff that we're facing with climate change and droughts and all this that's go along with it is, it affects all of us. So through that process, we have to find some kind of means. And I think this is a great big step toward that as we go forward and talk about what issues that we're faced with, be it from the First Nation level, be it from towns, be it from the different MDs as we go forward. Connectivity is one. Like I just started a school back in my community, and that's where we're teaching the Alberta curriculum as well as our native. We call it native curriculum, but it's actually our Cree language and everything else that associate with that. It's not being taught to the level that should be. This is a 21st century, and all that should be pushed forward as we go forward because, we as Native people, First Nations people, we're a commodity, when you look at it, probably the fourth biggest industry in Canada, in terms of jobs and everything else that's associated with when you flow it down right from Ottawa back to every level of government there is. So when I look at it, I said, everybody else capitalize on it, but we don't yet. So that's something that when we even talk about tourism, we can do that. Even on an education level, when I was looking at it, there is a market system within that place because when you look at either China or some of these other countries that are looking at Alberta curriculum, how best to do that? Well, we're going to blend it with the native knowledge that we have as well and add that element to it. So that's what we're looking at as we go forward in terms of education. But I'm proud to be a member of this alliance on a go forward basis because we're breaking new ground. And some of the ground that we're going to be going over is going to be rocky. It's not going to be steady. But I think if we keep working together, we can cross those bridges as we come to them. So again, I want to thank each one of you for being here and making this happen. Thank you very much. Oh, just one thing there. I've got my document here that tells me I could deal with different levels of government.
So with the creation of the Alberta North Central Alliance, 3 remaining First Nations will sign this document next week, and at which point we will circulate this to all of the membership. A lot of the partners and members that were up here today, the leaders that spoke, talked about some of the issues that we have in the region. And, I think one of the things that we all have in common and we all realize is that those issues often are very multi-jurisdictional and would deal with different levels of government. I reached out to the province to attend this because I think in order for this group to be successful, strong partnerships with the province of Alberta and with the government of Canada are the only way that we're going to accomplish that. And I want to give Minister McIver and Pat, I really appreciate that you are both here today, that you took it seriously to come. And when I reached out to Minister McIver's office to let him know what was going on, he phoned me personally to say, like, I need to get here. And your chief of staff even phoned the other day and said that Minister McIver told me to move whatever, heaven and earth, to get here today. And so I just want to say that that's the kind of partnership I think this group is looking for with the province. And I think for us to be successful, we're going to need that continued support. So with that, I really appreciate both of you coming today. And Pat, if you wanted to come forward and say a few words at this point.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Tyler, and thanks for everybody else for attending here today. It's great to be in beautiful Slave Lake, and I'd like to recognize that we're on Treaty 8 territory. I'd like to thank all of you for being here to participate in this historic occasion. This alliance of municipal districts, First Nations, counties, and towns represents an unparalleled commitment to truth and reconciliation, brotherhood in community, and for economic prosperity in our region. I commend all of you for having the courage to band your voices together as communities in this partnership of peers. I'm certain this alliance will provide tremendous benefits to everyone in our region and show the rest of Alberta and even Canada how cooperation between communities such as ours can enrich the lives of everyone involved. I commend all 10 of you for all of your hard work and for uniting for the benefit of the greater good. Thank you for having invited me to share in this landmark event for our region. And I wish the Alberta North Central Alliance and all of its participants the best of luck in fulfilling its mission. Thank you.
And to wrap us up, Minister McIver, if you wanted to come forward and say a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's wow, is it ever great to be here today in a time where people seem to have trouble getting along sometimes with their own family and between communities, between provinces, between political parties, between any way you can describe people. Isn't it amazing that we have 5 First Nations and 5 Alberta municipalities, in other words, 10 communities coming together as brothers and sisters and relatives. I think it's wonderful. Town of Slave Lake, Saw Ridge First Nation, the municipal district of Lesser Slave River, Sucker Creek First Nation, Big Stone Cree Nation, Big Lakes County, Kapawino First Nation. I hope I did okay. I got some coaching from the chief. The town of High Prairie, Drift Pile Cree Nation, and the municipal district of Opportunity. What leadership you're all showing. What you're breaking ground, you're making history. I heard words that I agree with, like courage, respect, trust, breaking new ground. There's just not enough good things to say for what is being started here today. This is about relationship building. This is about making the world better for our children and our children's children. It's my hope that you'll be so successful that this will be a model for other communities, other municipalities, other First Nations, other Indigenous groups. I look forward to hearing about your work, about your successes, about your challenges. I think this is a wonderful example of servant leadership from all involved. I can't wait to tell, as was said, my cabinet colleagues, the Premier about this day. I know Minister Wilson will also, as well as the Premier, be very excited about this. My other cabinet colleagues, if you know what, I expect they'll all be excited about it when they hear about it. But if they're not excited, I'll make them excited about it. How's that? And Pat, thank you for making sure that I was pushed to come here today. I think this is, in my view, one of the best examples of communities working together. It's the right thing to do for our kids and our grandkids, and it's also practically going to be a great thing to do. You know, just in my little part of the world, I deal with 340 odd municipalities. And I often say to them, well, you know, when I got 340 people barking at me to give me this, give me that, give me the other thing, and I know that's all real and it's all important and it's all sincere and it all matters. But sometimes our job to figure out what's the most important thing to do first, that's all important, is the most difficult thing. But when you get 10 groups of communities, 10 communities coming together and say, we all agree this is the most important thing, you really put your government in a tough spot, because it's harder for us to say no. So congratulations for being wise enough to make it harder for us to say no. That doesn't guarantee we'll always say yes, to be clear. However, when you work in the spirit of reconciliation, this spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood and neighborliness, I think you're putting yourselves in a better position to succeed for your community, your families, and your kids. So congratulations. I am so impressed by what you're doing here today.
Okay. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge some people here that really made this possible today. Jordan Panasiuk has been CAO of Big Lakes County. Am I doing that right? I got a thumbs up. Okay. He's been doing a lot of the administrative work behind the scenes. MD of Opportunity, their staff has been helping out. Multiple CAOs and Barb and Roland, our staff here today. Chris, Jill's up there working mics and sound to be here for this. This doesn't happen without the hard work of those people behind the scenes. So I just really appreciate you guys doing that. Bronte did a fantastic job on our press release that will go out later today. And Jordan helped me with the agenda, and I just don't want to screw this up. So I can't, the fund, when we asked for funding, was it in this meeting or is it the next one? I don't want to mess that up, because apparently they don't say no. Is that okay? Okay, I'll work on that. I'll get that cleared up for next one. Yeah, just in closing, I just want to say, you know, I usually do way better speaking, to be honest, and I feel like I was choking at the beginning, and it's a very emotional thing. I'm so proud to be part of this, because, you know, and the timing sucks. COVID sucks. Everybody's sick of COVID. And then there was a big debate about even whether we do this together. And I'm just glad that everyone felt it was important enough to be here. I'm glad that everyone showed up. I'm glad that this happened, because in reality, 26 days from now, it could be different people. But I think what happens here is that we've laid the foundation for a group to work together. And I think whether it is 26 days from now, it's 2 days from now, or 20 years from now, success or failure will always be determined by the people that put in the effort to get it done. And so I hope that we pave that way for this region, and I hope that we pave that way for Albertans, and I'm excited for that. So in closing, I would ask Elder Irene Twin to come forward again. Irene, we really appreciate you being here today, and she's going to close us out with a closing prayer.
Short and sweet. Yes. We keep getting shorter. Once again, Creator, I thank you for this historic gathering. We go home with the understanding to come together and address all our people's concerns. Thank you, Creator, for the leadership here today. Mayor Brian Panasiuk, did I say that properly? Panasiuk, thank you. Beg your pardon, Mayor Brian Panasiuk. Chief Sydney Halcrow from the Capwino First Nation. Reeve Ken Matthews, Big Lakes County. Chief Jim Badger, Sucker Creek First Nation. Chief Silas Yellowknee, Big Stone Cree Nation. Town of High Prairie. Oh, I did the mayor again. I beg your pardon, Brian. Chief Dwayne Labakan from the Driftpile Cree Nation. MD of Opportunity, Reeve, Marcel Auger. MD of Lesser Slave River, Reeve, Murray Carrick. Our Town of Slave Lake Mayor, Tyler Warman. Sawridge First Nation Chief, Roland Twin. Thank you, Creator, for their leadership here today. And for everyone else involved, the support teams of these leaders that made this alliance possible. We're thankful for their efforts, their energies, and we continue to pray and bless. The energy that was shared here today, bring it forward so this may continue. Creator, most of all today, bless our home fires. Keep them safe and safe travels for everybody. Hi, hi.
So no need to sit down. That concludes the formal part of our event here today. We appreciate all those who took time to watch this live as well. And thank you everyone for coming today.